in the next clip, they get focused on the fifth, and this is where I think things get particularly interesting. So let's listen in.
Here's the thing: don't lie, because you don't want people lying to you. Don't mess with somebody's wife, because you're going to be mad if they're messing with yours. Just, common sense stuff.
Say, "Thou shalt not kill."
They believe that. Yes. Well, here's the thing.
So for those of you listening at home, it was Sunny Hostin, she of the eclipse and climate change nonsense, points out that evangelicals, she says, would bring up the fifth commandment, thou shalt not kill. Now, the first point that struck me there is it's not just evangelicals. Evangelical is the left's, that's their code word for backward Bible-thumping hillbillies, right?
Yeah.
But it's not just evangelicals. Evangelical is not a term that we as Lutherans would adopt. Lutherans, Catholics, Anglicans, they would also suggest the fifth commandment plays a part here. I know that's a little bit of a nitpick, but I think it's kind of an important point to point out. What does So before we move on to Whoopi's theological genius on the fifth commandment, let's discuss this a little bit. What is the fifth commandment? For those of you who are these rascally evangelicals, that would be the sixth commandment
right.
in your Decalogue. What is the fifth commandment? What does it mean?
It's and she says, you shall not kill. The more correct interpretation or translation, I should say, is you shall not murder. That it specifically addresses willful harm of another without any justification, no pretense of self-protection or self-defense, that this is just straight up cold-blooded harm to another for no reason.
Okay, so the unlawful killing or harming of another person.
Correct.
Okay, so what do the original texts say? Where do we get this idea? Why is kill so often the word that is used here?
It was a less than accurate translation in the original King James Bible. Give me a second. I'll just look up the word in Hebrew. Exodus chapter 20 is where we find the giving of the Ten Commandments. So looking at Exodus chapter 20 in the Hebrew text, the word that is translated as kill in the King James, as murder in most other English translations, is ratzach, which means to murder or slay with premeditation. So this is just basic cold-blooded murder. Now, of course, Luther in his explanation extrapolates this to include physically harming your neighbor. So this, you can't use this to, for example, try and condemn capital punishment, because if you look at both in Romans as well as I believe it's First Peter, that you have authority given to the government to carry out the sword against the wicked.